Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. My name's Levi McCurdy, and this is episode 155, okay? Wow, we're back. It's episode 155. I know, I just dropped 154 on Monday because it was late from last Friday. I was on vacation, okay? I'm sure my new friend FBGM, I was saying his name wrong the whole time last episode. I'm so sorry. You don't do that to your friends, Levi.
What are we doing?
And so basically, apologies go out to him. Hopefully he'll comment on this video as well, boosting those numbers. Your hate comments boost the algorithm, which is hilarious. And I guess it's something that the trolls of the internet will never understand. That when you inevitably comment these hateful things that you're too afraid to comment on, like, you know, the big podcasts, the ones that actually matter, you comment on ours, all it does for us is boost our engagement.
What are we doing?
It's through the roofs, babe. And so shout out to the haters. Why do you think this is the second time I'm talking about the idiot in my comments? You know what I mean? And so that's where we're at. That's where we're at this week. And we've got quite a few things to talk about this week, so buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride. And listen, there's been a political shift, okay? There's been a political shift in this country, and I'm not sure how I feel about it anymore. Just, you know, like a few weeks ago, let alone like even just a year ago, okay? This is where we were, okay? This is the Kamala we had. This was the vice president. This was a year ago. And this was where we were at. This is what we believed to be the best that we can be and the best that we can do. You know what I mean? So when even asking about things like inflation, because it's been an issue for a year plus now.
What are we doing?
It's one of those things that we just find. So it's just... So we just come to understand that this is the version of Kamala Harris we were all used to, you know?
Experiencing record inflation, the worst in 30 years, way beyond expectations. OPEC didn't increase oil production. Can you tell us a little bit about how you would prevent the new spending and your Build Back Better agenda
Incredible
from
question.
exacerbating the problem? And also, what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living.
Already a word salad. We're mixing the salad, babe. We've got a solid Kardashian shake going, okay? If you know, you know, but basically the Kardashians called it, if you don't shake your salad at least 18 to 26 times, you're not eating it properly. So it's nothing but just rambling, you know, defining. She asked how you would fix. The question was, let me just remind you, for those of you following along with Kamala's brain, the woman asked her how you would fix inflation, not the definition.
What are we doing?
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic,
right,
but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously. Very seriously.
How are you going to fix it?
And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country.
Oh, she said
What
the
are we
same thing
doing?
twice. She said the same thing twice. So this is the Kamala Harris that we're used to, okay? This is the Kamala Harris we're used to. This is where we thought we were going. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump gets shot in the ear and all hell starts to break loose, okay? Biden finally comes to after being yelled at by his friends, like, I'm too old, I can't do this anymore. So he steps out, and overnight, Kamala Harris goes from the worst vice president in the United States history.
What are we doing?
And, you know, like, hey, I didn't say that. A bunch of rich, very important, powerful people did. So, like, you can't just take my silly little opinion for it, okay? But it's pretty much true. And overnight, we turned her into the Democratic nominee, okay? The DNC nominee. And what happened when this happened is it sent Zaddy Trumpets into a bit of a tizzy, okay? Donald Trump started spiraling. He was like, wait a minute. I thought I was up against Joe. Now we've got Kamala, and everyone's flipped to her side.
What are we doing?
And so, with all this news, it's basically got Donald Trump up in a tizzy. He doesn't know what to do. He's not really himself at the rallies anymore. We really haven't had any viral moments from him. And so I don't think he knows what to do.
What are we doing?
In this instance, like, because basically all we've seen Trump do this past weekend was a bunch of podcasts. Speaking of Theo Vaughn's, you know, and it's just kind of, we're not really pushing the narrative forward for the election. It's just more of Donald Trump and like his Donald Trump isms. Okay. And so we've got Theo Vaughn. Now I want to see how long it'll take into the interview. Let's go to the beginning of the interview. We're going to let's go to the intro. Let's give his intro a run there. And so I want to see how long it takes for Donald Trump to, and I believe we have a couple timestamps here, but how long it takes Donald Trump from the intro to the start of the interview, how long it takes him to mention the shooting, how long it takes for him to mention the assassination attempt on his life. Okay, so here we go. Theo Vaughn, a fan, as always. Listen, Theo Vaughn killing it right now, if I do say so myself.
What are we doing?
Bernie was on. Other big hits were on. Theo Vaughn is one of those guys who like can just, he'll go from having the two biggest political figures on his podcast. Next week, he's going to have a dishwasher. Next week, he's going to have a dishwasher from some random school or small mom and pop business that he finds in Louisiana somewhere.
What are we doing?
And so this is the versatility of Theo Vaughn. It's one of the reasons we love him. Cheers to you, buddy. No alcohol. He's sober, folks. Don't forget, okay?
Trump.
Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my stories. Shine on me, and I will find a song. I will sing it.
Just turn down a little bit. Here we go.
But your thing is going really great. My son's a big fan of yours, Baron.
Really, Baron is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
yeah,
He
Baron.
just graduated high school, right?
That's right. He just did. He knows
2K for
you very
Theo.
well.
Good job, Theo.
He said,
2K.
Dad, he's big.
Wow.
Yeah, big one.
Here we go.
That's cool.
So that's good.
What,
Well, that's where it is nowadays, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You know, yeah, I can't believe that we're able to get platforms. And I started in my kitchen, and then just evolved out of there.
That's fantastic.
Haven't we
Pretty
all?
unbelievable. What does Baron
Are
play?
do you want to start? You go ahead.
Yeah, we're good. Are we rolling?
Yeah, sure.
We're good. Yeah, that's does Baron play sports or anything?
He does. He plays golf and different sports, soccer. Loves soccer. Very good at soccer. He's a good athlete, Baron.
Yeah. Is he gonna go? Has he already picked a college or no?
He has, and he's getting set to go in the fall. Good college, a very good one. And he was always a very good student. He's smart guy.
Which one of your kids? What's something you admire about each one of your sons?
Well, Don is a hunter. He's a great, great hunter and knows everything about that world and guns and all. He was the first one that said, Dad, boy, you got lucky, because I didn't realize that 130 yards is actually very close in that parlance. And he said, you got lucky. He knew immediately when he saw that. He said, it's incredible, because that's good.
There it is.
What
That's
are we
it.
doing?
There it is. A minute and a half, 90 seconds. 90 seconds into the interview with Theo Von, and we've already found a way to incorporate the assassination attempt into the episode. I mean, did we expect anything less? I had about 2 minutes. I mean, I came in almost, oh man. I mean, and just talking about his children, he can't get through talking about naming one good thing about his children without bringing up that someone tried to assassinate
What
him.
are we doing?
And so it just, and I mean, the only other, it was a very short interview. Trump got the nod. Trump got from his guys, by the way. So we know this now with Trump, okay? If Trump likes you, you get an hour. And if Trump likes you, you'll at like the 50-minute mark, 55, his guy will come over and Trump will say, oh, yep, okay. And then, oh, we got to wrap this up, and we wrap it up. If he likes you, you get another 30 minutes, okay? Logan Paul got extra 30.
What are we doing?
Theo Von, unfortunately, got the wrap up and didn't get the extra 30. I'm going to imagine probably has something to do with him talking about Trump's, I'm pretty sure, deceased alcoholic brother.
What are we doing?
Rest in peace. And so they get into that. They get into drug addiction and cocaine. We're going to jump to right there right now because, I mean, Donald Trump talking to Theo Von about cocaine and what it's like is probably one of, oh, wait, we want to get to this too. Look, this is the most, listen to this. Oracle's AI cloud, who maybe has 3 people interested in their service.
What are we doing?
Is sponsoring the Theo Von podcast. Listen to this.
Technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete with costs spiraling out of control? Well, it's time to upgrade to the next generation on the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. What? OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs.
What are we doing? Let's just go through some of the other recent Theo Von and podcast sponsors like Blue Chew, MeUndies, the drinks, Better Picks, gambling, the toothbrush, the subscription boxes, Manscaped, Alpha Brand, the whole kit and caboodle. But for some reason, some peppy little spitfuck of a marketing employee over at Oracle, who is clearly a huge fan of the Theo Von podcast.
What are we doing?
Said, hey guys, it would behoove us if we gave a bunch of money to and sponsored Theo Von's podcast. He's got a huge audience. A lot of people are going to see it. And when when Theo Von's audience, who is, us.
What are we doing?
Half people who don't understand how creating a cloud infrastructure for your AI, LLM, MLLM cloud service app to take on ChatGPT and Claude and pretty much everyone else on the planet that you'll completely fail at.
What are we doing?
Go to oracle.com/Theo and they're going to give you 5% off your $2,000 a month server cost because Theo Von said so. What are we doing with Theo, we could have vetted that one, a little bit. And so immediately after this, of course, right after the ad break, we talk about none other than that magic, beautiful powder, cocaine.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's the wildest thing to watch is people losing everything,
Yeah, no, they lose everything, and many, many people. And in those days, it wasn't drugs. It wasn't like don't drink, don't take drugs. I don't think drugs, I don't even know whether they're even a factor. They happened pretty long time ago. But I think in those days, I don't think were drugs a factor. You go back 25 years ago.
Not like it is.
Were drugs
What are we
a
doing?
factor 25 years? Donald Trump is claiming that he does not know if, in fact, drugs were a problem in the year 2000. Hey, man. What do you think was going on in the 60s, let alone the 70s, let alone the 80s, let alone the 90s?
What are we doing?
Were drugs a thing 20 years ago?
I think in those days, I don't think were drugs a factor. You go back 25 years ago.
Not like it is now.
Well, certainly not like now. And
And that actually takes me into something else I wanted to talk about,
ahead.
like alcoholism and addiction is.
Additionally, by the way, what Donald Trump does not understand is that Theo Vaughn is 100% looking his best.
What are we doing?
This is dressed up. This is the most we will these are his best boots. This is his best blazer, and he brushed his hair at least 3 times this morning.
What are we doing?
This is his best shirt. It's a blank, looks like a high quality. He probably got it from Philip DeFranco.
What are we doing?
And now what's going to happen is Theo Vaughn is going to explain the effects and the inner workings and the reasonings behind why anyone would ever want to use cocaine.
Is something that's really ramped up, even like you're saying, like in the past 20,
Right.
30 years in our country, right? And during the opioid epidemic, they estimate that like almost 600,000 people died.
yeah.
And that doesn't even include the broken hearts and the deaths of families and circles of trust.
Gotta include those
just
people.
People that lost a
Yep.
brother. Doesn't even include the actual, the siblings.
Right.
And so the ripple effect of that is huge. And there's that Sackler family that pretty much got away with it. They had
Look at him.
a financial slap.
Look at these people. Of course. Why wouldn't you be pissed?
What are we doing?
Just looking at this photo, you know that this family is responsible. Maybe not at their hands, maybe not at anyone within the family's hands, but this group of white people can't be trusted.
What are we doing?
And you know for a fact that something they did directly led to at least one, if not a bunch, of people's lives being lost. I mean, look at this group of people.
On the wrist, but we're one of the only countries that allows drug advertisements and pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television. Like, what do you think are things that you?
And by the way, Donald Trump is looking at Theo as if he's telling him this for the first time.
What are we doing?
He's acting like Donald Trump is looking at Theo Vaughn as if like he wasn't president 4 years ago, and this is the first time he's hearing about the drug epidemic in the United States. I mean, look at his face. It's just he's over it. He's done talking about drugs. He just wants to talk about him getting assassinated.
One of the only
Or
countries
attempted. The attempted.
What are we doing?
Sorry.
that allows drug advertisements and pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television. Like, what do you think are things that you can do to help curtail that when you get into office?
So, well, we did a great job. We had
Does that make sense or not?
Yes,
that question?
it does make sense. And we had committees, blue ribbon committees in certain cases, but committees that would meet. The big problem we have is, fentanyl is probably the biggest. Opioid is bad. Opioid is bad too.
Yeah.
I think that's bad because everyone thinks, in many cases, they think they're going to do away with pain. And literally the time is so short. If you take it for like 2 weeks, you're almost addicted to it. It's incredible when you think.
Well, all of that is horrible. But
How
why
did
do
you
we
get
allow
How
that
did you
to
get addicted? How did?
No, I would just do cocaine. That
Here we
was
go.
really
Right?
Yeah. So not
That's
just
pretty- That's
it was-
down and dirty, right?
Down and dirty.
It was
But
What are we doing?
Pause it. That's gonna be the name of Theo Vaughn's next Netflix special. I'm calling it now. He's going to watch this interview back again, and Trump going, that's down and dirty.
What are we doing?
I guarantee you, Theo Von's next Netflix special is going to be called Theo Von Down and Dirty. Mark my words.
Anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore, man, and I'm not doing
Is it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but yeah, it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or
So
something.
the thing you go back to then is,
What are we doing?
Listen, this is why Donald Trump needs to go on no other podcast than Theo Von and potentially one or two other comedians. Definitely not Joe Rogan. At this point in time, if Donald Trump goes on the Joe Rogan Experience, no one watch it.
What are we doing?
No one watch it. Listen to me right now. Those numbers need to be so low. He has dropped the ball to the point where Theo Von is talking to President Biden about the effects and how he himself and why pretty much anyone on the planet cannot handle the drug cocaine.
Country, but yeah, it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or
Made
something.
me
so
feel
the
like
thing
it's
you go
mechanic.
back to then is alcohol for the most part.
Right, yeah, but what I want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll like be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger
Oh yeah,
up?
yeah. Cocaine
So,
will make
you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying? You'll be out on your own porch, you know, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
And is that a good feeling? Well,
No,
it's
horrible.
a miserable feeling.
But you do
As
it anyway, just like the guy you're saying with the scotch. Like you knew it was bad, but you still.
So it's not even good during what would be normally the good time.
Yep.
wow.
Now you're getting
What
it,
are
Donald.
we doing?
Now you're fully understanding that smug face. Now you fully understand what it's like to be a drug addict. So this is what I mean. And shout out to Theo Von. Just he got in exactly what he needed to as far as like Theo Von-isms. Like, cocaine will make you a damn owl, homie. Like, come on, bro. So that's how Donald Trump is reacting to all of this now newfound fame that Kamala Harris has. There's been a shift now. It was a zaddy trumpets race. All numbers, all polls, all things to be. Donald Trump was ready to take this election from Joe Biden, but in walks Kamala Harris, okay? And so, like, there's been now a shift, and for some reason, like, perfect example, the roll call. For those of you who don't know, when the Republicans have their powwow, the RNC, and the Democrats have theirs, the DNC, they do this thing called the roll call, where they call all the states, and they're like, hey, how many people from your state, how many people are voting and who are they voting for? Who's their nominee? Okay. And so, perfect example of what happened at RNC just a few weeks ago. Okay. Just a few weeks ago at RNC, this was roll call. You have the old lady on the stage. She calls upon the states, and this is what you can expect.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures, the U.S. Virgin Islands, 4 votes, President Trump. North Carolina.
Look at this lady, by the way. God, they're all old.
North Carolina, 74 delegates.
Yep.
Madam Secretary,
Okay.
I am Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, and God willing, I will be the next governor of North Carolina.
Right?
North Carolina is the Tar Heel state. North Carolina is the home of the longleaf pine, and North Carolina is indeed, the state that is and always will be first in flight.
Okay,
What are we doing?
Now that was fun. It sounded so much like he wanted to have a list of things there. That North Carolina was the first in flight, nothing else.
What are we doing?
He said, I don't know, maybe he stumbled on his words there. That Hold on, let's go back 1 second.
North Carolina is the Tar Heel state. North Carolina is the home of the longleaf pine, and North Carolina is indeed, woo, the state that is and always will be first in flight.
You know,
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the state of North Carolina, I am directed that the state to cast
Get it back.
62 votes for America's Braveheart and the next president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, for president.
So mild, right? Very mild at the RNC. Fudged it up a little bit there. Okay, fudged it up a little bit, but that's okay. He was nervous. But that's roll call, right? She calls on every state. They do a little spiel about why their state's the best in the country. And that's pretty much how it's supposed to be. A chill, easy, relax. They're cheering, a little bit of cheer, a little bit of excitement at RNC. Fast forward, now we had DNC this week. And this was the DNC roll call. Here's Georgia.
Georgia, how do you cast your votes?
Seems a little hype.
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. Five, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what? Turn out for what? Hey, turn out for what? Yeah! Turn out for what?
Are we getting banned? We're getting banned, Little John.
What are we doing?
Holy shit. I'm hyped, dude. I'm hype as shit. Let's go. We're pumping up. Let's go. Kamala, turn down
What
for
are
what?
we doing?
So while that's happening, how do we... Oh, my goodness. And it's still going? We got the whole thing. Oh, my God. Is Lil Jon Holy shit, are the East Side Boys here?
What are we doing?
Go.
Mr. Secretary.
Oh, my
the
God.
South's got something to say. I'm Congresswoman Akima Williams,
Oh.
chairwoman of the Democratic Party of Georgia. Georgia, the home of President Jimmy Carter, the cradle of the civil rights movement,
All right.
where we fight for our freedom. Extremists in Georgia are trying to silence our voices by kicking Georgians off of the rolls and making it harder to vote. But y'all, when we send Kamala Harris to the White House, she'll fight for our freedom to vote, our reproductive freedom, and our freedom to thrive. In the spirit of good trouble, Georgia has 123 votes for the next president.
What are we doing?
Listen, you have to now choose, okay? You now have to decide. You now have to choose, and I'm going to break it down for you right now. Listen, forget about taxes, the economy, rights, women's rights, the whole reproductive right. Forget about all the important topics. Those don't really matter anyways. Listen, this is all you need to worry about. How you decide to vote for this upcoming election. I'm going to help you decide right now. That way everyone is able to vote.
What are we doing?
You have to decide. On the left, you can vote for Kamala Harris, okay? And the K-Hive that comes with it. I'm talking Meg the Stallion. I'm talking Lil Jon.
What are we doing?
I'm talking Obama. I'm talking Oprah Winfrey was there. Oprah, okay? Michelle Obama, okay? There were rumors.
What are we doing?
In the Twitter sphere that Beyonce was going to be there, but that never happened. TMZ. So on the left, that's what we're looking at. And on the right, you've got Zaddy Trumpets with Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan, and a few New York City drill rappers that no one, I don't think, has ever heard of.
What are we doing?
And so here's just your last. So there's the two sides. And I know which way you're leaning. It's okay. And here's how you decide where your final decision is to be made. There's one more step. So now that you understand, we have Kamala, Meg Thee Stallion, Little John, the Obamas, Oprah, pretty much anyone who gives a shit about, you know, hip hop, women's rights, the culture, African Americans. Like, it's blatantly clear that they have stolen the black vote from Donald Trump. And hey, good job. Good fucking job. They got Lil Jon, dude.
What are we doing?
They got Lil Jon. I mean, you can't tell me that, like, Kid Rock's performance at RNC wasn't, like, nowhere near the levels of Lil Jon, okay? I don't care. So here's the last way you figure it out with Kid Rock. Kid Rock is going to help us vote. Here we go. One more way to help you vote. Watch this video of Kid Rock. Ready? All you have to do is watch it. Just watch it with me one time. Here we go.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible.
Okay, that's it. If you watch that video and your exact reaction to it was hell yeah, or something along those lines, you're voting for Donald Trump. If your reaction was anything other than that, like who is this? Why is Kid Rock shooting? Okay, we get it. The Dylan Mulvaney, like, this isn't important. We don't care, like, whatever. You're voting for Kamala Harris, and that's how you decide.
What are we doing?
That's how you decide. So if your reasoning for not voting this November was you weren't educated on the candidates and what they stand for and who they represent in the ecosphere of your space, aka Kid Rock and Meg Thee Stallion, then now you fully understand. So however you reacted to that Kid Rock video is how you will vote at the polls this November. And that's pretty much it.
What are we doing?
That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? So it looks like Kamala's on her way, okay? Dare I say it? Dare I say it? Listen, we're not on a party either way. That's why we get to make fun of both sides when they do ridiculous shit, okay? And so just speaking of even more ridiculous shit, it basically, get ready, because Chick-Fil-A is launching their own streaming platform.
What are we doing?
And when I told Megs this, she didn't understand what I was saying because of how ridiculous it is. Like, her brain didn't compute the fact that, like, Chick-Fil-A, the fast food establishment not open on Sundays for various reasons, is creating a streaming service. Netflix?
What are we doing?
Like, yes, that. So basically what has happened is Chick-fil-A knows that there is no chance in hell that they are ever going to win the chicken sandwich war, okay? Burger King had it for a minute. Popeyes is up there. McDonald's new McCrispy is kind of up there. Chick-fil-A is now somewhere in America. I'm almost positive. Fight me on this. But probably, like, not the top chicken sandwich anymore.
What are we doing?
And so they've realized that now that they have just essentially done all they can do in the fast food space. Because let's face it, they are not bringing us any new food products anytime soon. All that's going to happen now, because they just re-announced it again, is they're going to keep bringing back and taking away the pimento fancy, disgusting cheese chicken sandwich that tastes like trash.
What are we doing?
It's the most utterly disgusting abomination of a chicken sandwich. That's why they have now downranked themselves and just become one of those mediocre, run-of-the-mill, super expensive. They're one of the last ones to hop on this whole meal deal thing. Even Dunkin' Donuts has a $6 meal deal now.
What are we doing?
Chick-fil-A has realized that the fast food wars are kind of over for them, okay? They're good where they're at. They're making a shit ton of money. They're remodeling every location in my town every 6 months, so someone's making bank somewhere. There's always a line. You know you love it. Whether you like to admit it or not, we're all okay and / half obsessed with and will continue to eat Chick-fil-A.
What are we doing?
But it won't ever become more than that. And in order to do that in this world, you have to stand out. You have to become more. And that is why Chick-fil-A hatched new plans for a streaming service, as, you know, reality TV and a bunch of other things kind of, you know, come into play. Okay. So it's basically, it's happening. It's here and it's now and it's the latest and greatest thing, and I think we might be on board for this by the end of the article.
What are we doing?
Okay. Chick-fil-A is moving aggressively, which means it's in full effect. We're in motion. It's coming for $5.99 a month near you. And guess what? Streamers, subscribers, for the first 3 months of your subscription, you get a discount on your food in store restaurants.
What are we doing?
I can only imagine the crossovers. Chick-fil-A is moving aggressively into the entertainment space, which with plans to launch a slate of originals of its own on its own streaming platform. Deadline understands that the fast food firm has been working with a number of major production companies, including some of the studios, to create family-friendly shows, particularly in the unscripted space. So they want to make reality TV.
What are we doing?
Because they think it's relatable. We hear that this includes a family-friendly game show from Glass Media, the company behind NBC's The Wall. And newsflash, we did our research. That's about the only show that this company has ever made.
What are we doing?
And I'm pretty sure that show didn't do too well when it was on either. And Sugar 23, which is behind such series as Netflix's 13 Reasons Why. Oh, okay. So we've hired the same companies that made a one-off game show that didn't get a second season, and the company that made 13 Reasons Why, the show about the teenagers in high school, I think, that like get abused all the time in the bathroom.
What are we doing?
Right? Or maybe that happened one time. I don't know. I never watched it because it's not my thing. So doesn't seem good. Doesn't seem good. Budgets on the unscripted side are believed to be in the range of $400,000 per half-hour episode.
What are we doing?
We're dropping stacks, dude. Chick-fil-A is ready to drop stacks. And I mean, if it wasn't bad enough for the streaming wars, I mean, we already contemplate the Netflix, the HBO, the Hulu account from month to month. We already wait till Black Friday to get those deals, baby.
What are we doing?
We already share passwords for a few other services with a few of our close friends because the streaming services and the whole cable industry, we've talked about it numerous times on this podcast, it's getting out of control. And for some reason, Chick-fil-A thinks that they can come along and do what so many others have failed. Like, hey, when's the last time you watched Tubi?
What are we doing?
When's the last time you streamed anything on Roku?
What are we doing?
When's the last time you streamed anything on Peacock?
What are we doing?
And that's owned by NBC. When's the last time? I mean, it's the street. You cannot, hey, remember the Vertical? What was the Vertical? Quibi or something? It was like 20-minute Vertical movie. Like there was a whole Kevin Hart movie on there. I think Roku bought it. Is that the plan here? Is that the plan? Like Chick-fil-A just wants their streaming service to be purchased by Apple in 9 months?
What are we doing?
God. Brian Gibson, who's worked on series including History's Top Gear remake, and Fox's adaptation of The X Factor, is leading the programming charge and has been in talks with various producers. It also says here that they are looking to purchase and license original content from other networks. One source told Deadline that it was positive, that it was a positive move for the reality TV industry, which has been struggling for recent years. And then another source added, it was a good opportunity comparing it to branded content. Chick-fil-A declined to comment.
What are we doing?
That whole last sentence of the article, who wrote this article? Peter White. This is, who's telling you this? That, two different sources. One source told Deadline it was a positive move for the reality TV industry, which has been struggling for years, for Chick-fil-A to throw their hat in the ring.
What are we doing?
Hey, do you know? Here's what I think is going on. It's a few things. There's something bigger at play here. This is why Chick-fil-A chose not to comment, okay? Now, because they've changed their stance, because of the shitstorm that it's swirled up, a shit-nado, if you will.
What are we doing?
Because of the shit-nado, this terms of service Disney Plus story has stirred up in relation to this poor man's deceased wife when the restaurant workers told her, hey, no nuts in the salad. She ordered the salad. There were nuts in the salad. She was dead hours later.
What are we doing?
So now he's been trying to sue Disney for a wrongful death. Of course, he should win every penny he's asking for and then some.
What are we doing?
But Disney is claiming that because of the terms of service in the Disney Plus streaming agreement, it says it right here, you cannot sue Disney or any Plus or any of its subsidiaries, aka any Disney property.
What are we doing?
And so what I think's happening here is Chick-fil-A has seen all these lawsuits, right? The chicken nugget on the leg, McDonald's just settled, I think, for $800,000.
What are we doing?
A Florida mom branded her daughter with a piping hot chicken nugget just to put her through a lawsuit. Now, of course, she claimed, and of course, she got proof, anyone can these days, that her daughter was autistic and that she couldn't take the stand and testify to accidentally say that mommy did it.
What are we doing?
So, of course, McDonald's settled that one for just a little under $1 million. And with all the other lawsuits around the fast food industry, Chick-fil-A thought, well, if Disney Plus can put a little rinky-dink line in their terms of service that says you can't sue us if anything ever happens, then maybe we start our own streaming service with our own streaming service terms of services.
What are we doing?
That way, when someone chokes on the chicken at a Chick-fil-A, no lawsuit that we've got to cover there, baby. We're getting paid at both ends. That's one thing, you know what I mean? Hey, think about it. Think about it. And, listen, I mean, this is, I think, the more I think about it, the more it becomes a reality. I think maybe not Chick-fil-A, but take my word for it, maybe Arby's. This is what Arby's needs to do. This is what Arby's needs to do to come back.
What are we doing?
To make up for the cheeseburger debacle that Arby's still has, by the way, every time I drive by, every time, and it's every day. My son goes to school every day. Every time I drive by, I drive through the drive-thru of Arby's, and they say, hey, sir, how may I help you? What can I get you? What's your order? Whoever, and I say, hey, do you guys still have the cheeseburger? And when they say, yes, sir, we do, would you like one? I peel the fuck off.
What are we doing?
And and then I tally it down in my journal, and we're about 543 days in that Arby's is still selling what they call a cheeseburger. And so I think in order to rectify that marketing decision and just kind of sweep that under the rug, I think we need Arby's Plus, okay, which is an app subscription you can get that comes with its own library of original content. And original content, by the way, this is how we're going to outdo Chick-Fil-A, because they have the people now. They don't let you. When's the last time you ordered at the speaker at Chick-Fil-A? There's always a person. As long as the weather's nice, there's always a person with the iPad. So they lose out on the screen time. What Arby's is going to do is they are going to stream their content exclusively at the drive-through monitors.
What are we doing?
So you'll have two screens. You'll have one with the menu, one with the latest episode. And based on where you're at in the drive-through, as soon as you get to the first window to the second window, there will be screens with a continued version of that episode, so you never miss a beat. And so until you get your food, which at our local Arby's can take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, you're already 1 to 2 episodes deep into your next obsession.
What are we doing?
And so then you're going to go home, you're going to enjoy your mozzarella sticks and your roast beef sandwich with the cheddar sauce on it and your fake cheeseburger, and you're going to say, God damn it, I need to know what happens in episode 3. I need to know what happens in the Arby's original classic starring Jennifer Aniston and Jason Segel. We're looking at me, myself, and roast beef.
What are we doing?
And so I dropped my notes. And so when you realize that that's what you need to do to save the business, dare I say, we take it one step even further. We take it to the stratosphere. That's what we do on this podcast. That's why we're the best. That's why we're number one, right up top, right below. We're right up there with Call Her Daddy and Logan Paul's Impulsive. We're right there, baby.
What are we doing?
Ever since Joe moved to YouTube, Spotify hasn't ranked him in like the top 5, and we've pretty much taken over Joe Rogan's spot on all the charts. So that's why we're different. Listen to this take. Ready? It started out as a bit. Hold on, let me get my notes. I dropped my notes, and they're upside down. I don't even have anything. Here we go. This is what Subway needs to do.
What are we doing?
Subway, if you didn't watch last week's / yesterday's episode, essentially, Subway is on its way to bankruptcy. Now, all the F-boys in the comments are telling, whoa, why are you saying that about Subway? Like, they actually give a shit.
What are we doing?
Like, if you actually asked anybody who's like, wait a minute, Levi, like, I kind of like Subway. Ask anybody. If you ask 99.9% of people on this planet, this country even, but I guarantee you I could get 99% of the planet to agree. If you ask them what their fast food favorite go-to is, if you had to choose one thing for the rest of your life, if you could get an unlimited gift card to spend every single second of your life for free at that restaurant, what restaurant would you choose? 99% of the planet would say something other than Subway.
What are we doing?
Guarantee it. There's going to be 10 to 35 people who say it, and once we poll the entire planet, that'll be enough for our 99% rankings, okay? Listen, there's so many other, and especially with like fast casual, a lot of people will define like Panera, Five Guys, all of these kind of like, not some sort of have a drive-through, some don't, the new ones do. These fast casual places are included in that. I think so. If they have a drive-through, and guess what? Our Panera does.
What are we doing?
So Chipotle, I think a few of them have drive-throughs now. So like, Could you count Sheets as like, or Wawa as, they'd probably rank higher than Subway. So all I'm saying is what we need to do is, in order to save the brand Subway, I'm talking to the executives now. This is my entrepreneur hat, my business owner hat. I have 2 successful businesses. So far, you have 1 failing.
What are we doing?
Just saying, listen up. We need to do, it's a 2-prong attack, okay? It is a 2-prong attack. If we bring back the $5 footlong, and I'm not talking about this bullshit buy one, get one for $5.
What are we doing?
I'm talking about the footlong that they, whatever they choose. It doesn't matter if it's the Steph Curry or the Jeffrey Epstein sub or the Bill Gates sub or the Monster or the Michael Phelps, who, I don't care what sub it is. If it is on a foot long worth of your bread, then it's $5.
What are we doing?
It's $5. You have one stipulation you may use. You have one stipulation. They have to order on the app. Fine, dude. Get your app signups up so you can go back to the investors and get more money and get yourself out of this hole. Make us use the app. Fine. America will.
What are we doing?
And so if you make us download the Subway app, it's now a 3-prong attack. You're welcome. You're welcome. Make us download the app. And when we order any footlong on that app, it is $5 no matter where we are on the planet. We go pick it up and it's $5. Okay? If we get 2, it's 10. If we get 3, it's 15. If we get 4, it's 20 with tax, of course, included. We'll pay it. We're Americans.
What are we doing?
That's phase 2. So phase 1, you get us to download the app because you promised $5 footlongs are coming back. We download the app. You bring the $5 footlongs back. And for more than a month, bitch, make it 3 to 6 months, if not a whole year promotion.
What are we doing?
And I guarantee you the traffic of every single Subway location in this country, which is more than McDonald's, by the way.
What are we doing?
There's your trivia question of the week. Who has more restaurants in America? Who has more locations? Subway or McDonald's? I guarantee you every single one of your family members would say McDonald's, of course.
What are we doing?
It's Subway all day, baby. They let them bitches open up right across the street from each other. They don't care. And that's where they failed, okay? Subway app, $5 footlong. And then your 3rd prong attack is, once we now have an influx of cash, you do not give it to the CEO as a bonus.
What are we doing?
Or anyone else in corporate. You put that money directly into 30-minute episodes of your own original, here's your name, I only want 10%, ready? Fresh Plus. Or just call it Fresh. Just call it Fresh.
What are we doing?
Call it Fresh, just like HBO Plus, whatever, just rebranded to Max. You can just use one word, call it Fresh. Download the Fresh app today to start streaming. Download the Fresh app today. The only way they get the $5 footlong is that they download the Fresh app and watch an episode.
What are we doing?
You watch an episode a day, you unlock a new $5 footlong promo code. I'm working it out as I go, and now I've got you hooked. Okay, Subway, call me, email me. It's somewhere, you'll find it. Figure out my name, do a Google search, and call me, Subway. We can wrap this up in a 3-prong attack, and we'll have you bruising and cruising. We'll have you at that number 1 spot. I can't guarantee that any more than 96% of Americans will not choose you as their favorite. But by the time we are done getting them to download the app, become obsessed with we're going to have mini games. They're going to be able to win free cookies on the mini games for their kids. They're going to have to watch 1 episode a day, and they'll get a code to get a $5 footlong, and that's what they'll do every time. And then we get them hooked on the price and the app. And then a year later, We bump up that subscription price to $10 a month, and now your footlongs are $7 instead of the original $15 that we're still charging in store.
What are we doing?
And I guarantee you we bring this brand back. You thought Quiznos was gone. If they don't implement this plan, Subway will be the next Quiznos.
What are we doing?
All I'm saying is Chick-Fil-A figured it out, and somehow Cold Stone Creamery figured it out. This is where I draw the line, dude. Is that correct? Am I reading this? My town is getting a Cold Stone Creamery, okay? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
A brand new Cold Stone Creamery is coming to central Pennsylvania here in Mechanicsburg, PA, and I don't exactly know how I feel about it. First of all, Cold Stone Creamery ice cream tastes like rocks.
What are we doing?
Because that's how they make it. They put it on a rock, and then they mash it up, and guess what? Every time you think it's a good idea to mix in the gummy bears, to mix in the chocolate, to mix in the marshmallows, to mix in all the things your heart desires at Cold Stone, until they mix it in and all that shit freezes. And now you're trying to chew on hard rock candy gummy bears while eating ice cream. And I don't know about you, but every time I would ever have to do that, or any time that ice cream that I'm supposed to be licking on touches my back teeth, my brain goes through the roof. It's painful.
What are we doing?
And so when you have to bite down on now these frozen solid treats, unlike, Froyo's not that cold. They don't put it on a freezing cold stone. Okay, this is where you have to understand, why is this brand still existing? I thought Cold Stone, when I saw the headlines, I thought they were telling us that they were getting rid of the only one we have left in Harrisburg.
What are we doing?
But basically, what happens is somebody within the development of the Cold Stone Creamery brand must have driven down the main street of Mechanicsburg and seen the only ice cream shop with a line at it.
What are we doing?
And when they realized that the people of central Pennsylvania are
What
literally
are we doing?
only eating Dairy Queen. We didn't take to the road churn. No one goes there. There's a mom and pop place up the street, but only a select few people go there because the parking's limited. And so to satisfy the ice cream sensation that we all need here in Central PA, because we're all a bunch of fatty boom baddies.
What are we doing?
We go to Dairy Queen, and anytime you drive down the main street of my town, there is a line of cars wrapped around the building, sometimes leaking out onto the street. There are cars in the parking lot full, and there is a line inside. The Dairy Queen is the hottest business in our town.
What are we doing?
Now, I don't know what that says about us, probably a lot, but when the people at Cold Stone Creamery found out, they were like, hey, we're coming for you, DQ. We're an old ice cream brand too, and we're not backing down. So we're getting a Cold Stone, dude. I can tell you how many times I'm going to go there, and it's about as many times as I go to Dairy Queen a year. It's just one of the most... What's killing me is the business development of this town. If anyone is familiar or knows of the vicinity of the Carlisle Pike, you'll know how frustrating it is when all of the new businesses have simply been the same shit that we've had, or literally no shit that we actually give a fuck about. Like, excuse me, hey. Not only can the citizens of Mechanicsburg not afford it, we don't give a shit and won't be shopping at LL Bean.
What are we doing?
I thought that brand was dead, dude. When the last time I heard of LL Bean is when my stepmom's parents, who I think are still alive.
What are we doing?
I don't know. No one told me, but that last time I heard of LL Bean, it was my stepmom's parents house for Thanksgiving dinner, I think maybe. And like they had a catalog and they said, hey kids, pick something out. We're getting you your Christmas gifts from LL Bean.
What are we doing?
And so that year for Christmas, I ended up with a real slick pair of shoes that I never wore and a yellow zip-up vest. And the only day I wore that bitch to school, because I was in 4th or 5th grade at the time, was the first day, and all the kids made fun of me.
What are we doing?
And that started me down the path of being bullied until about 9th grade. It was about a 5-year journey until I realized I had to get the fuck out of that school district and make my own journey. And then I became this person that you see before you. So really, I guess I can thank LL Bean, but at the end of the day, I'm not. And like, I kind of, on the first day they open, I may or may not burn it to the ground.
What are we doing?
I'm just saying, it's in my own personal, listen, like we're not getting, it's just, there's nothing good coming. There's nothing good ever coming. The last new thing we got is Dave's Hot Chicken. Fine. Okay, fine. But when all they sell is chicken, it better be a new Raising Cane's.
What are we doing?
And I don't think those are coming to town for another 2 to 3 years. So it's just, that's what we got, folks. We've got another new car wash. That's 4 now. 4 brand new car washes on the pike. And we got a new car wash. We got a brand new BJ's. No one's got a membership to BJ's.
What are we doing?
It's either Sam's Club or Costco, but we're getting a new BJ's. And other than that, it's Cold Stone Creamery. So things are looking great. Things are looking great. And our venture to moving out of this godforsaken country is coming sooner than later. So, I mean, new business, old business, new brands need to reprise their roles. They need to redefine their stance on this country, you know? And I don't see why it can't be done. I don't see why you can't be Netflix and the #1 fast food place on the planet. You know what I mean? I think, you know, or it's just, yeah, well, that's pretty much it. All right, let's find. I think Carlos sent us a message. Yes, sir. Where we at? Where's my messages? I asked my buddy Los, who did he send those to? Just me, maybe? Yep, okay, my other accounts, of course. That I'm not logged into, of course. Here we go. All right. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about the hip hop industry. Let's talk about concerts. Let's talk about Post Malone, and then we'll wrap up this episode. Okay. So first and foremost, my TikTok last night was just overrun with 2 different concerts. Okay. Fuck, I gotta do this. I gotta do this bit too. Okay. My TikTok was overrun with 2 different concerts last night, and I thought they were night and day opposites in the sense that they should have been night and day opposites. And I'll explain here in a second.
What are we doing?
So I saw that our GOAT of living rap legends, Lil Wayne, was performing last evening, I think at a state fair. And our Childish Gambino has taken the stage yet again for, I think, what is his last tour, music product. You know, Donald Glover, he'll go away and be sad for a few years. And then once he takes the right amount of drugs and the right, kind of the right concoction, he'll start making music again. And then he'll go on tour and do what he's doing now.
What are we doing?
And so, listen, we've heard this, okay? We've heard this fact from a few sources. We've heard it from our friend Los over at 280 Plus, who we're going to get to on another topic here in a second, but we heard it directly from him. We heard it from, we've seen it on TikTok, and it's just this unfortunate instance of Lil Wayne and his current concert giving abilities. Okay, so it's unfortunate because what we hear is it's just not. Half of the audience says it's worth the money. Half of the audience says this isn't the Lil Wayne they expected.
What are we doing?
And we've also confirmed this from people who've seen Lil Wayne in 2023, 2024, and people who have seen him in like 2010, 2011 times. And it's night and day. First of all, the concerts are chaos. Let's just, according to this, let's watch this for a second. Who's that guy?
What are we doing?
And why is he? Oh, ready, watch. He's just limp, and he's trying to get to Lil Wayne.
What are we doing?
Go limp, bro. Let security drag you out of there. So listen to Lil Wayne's flow, and what I want you to do is, if you can, with the live band instrumentals.
What are we doing?
I get it. You're trying to put on a show, but like when your hypest song is a milli, and we're just over indicted with the drums and everything going on, try to rap along with Lil Wayne and just see if you notice what I notice here.
I'm a young money millionaire. I'm top of this high. My criteria against the yoga ridges isn't because I'm venereal disease and like a menstrual happy to the pencil and leak on the sheet of the study instrument. I don't write shit. $7 million goes to the almighty dollar in the almighty robber on the
What are we doing?
Yeah, listen, I mean, here's the issue. This is Lil Wayne he's at a state fair level now.
What are we doing?
So, a peg down, dare I say, on the totem pole, and just the flow. We've heard it's not enjoyable to listen to an entire show like this. Now, you'll recall and remember Childish Gambino and some of his music. He's got new music now, and this is what his show looks like. And I mean, listen, there's probably an age gap. Lil Wayne's a little older. He's just kind of on his legacy tour now. He can't even do songs like Mona Lisa because he doesn't actually know the words.
What are we doing?
So to compare these two, I'm sorry. I'm not comparing their music. I'm just comparing the experience of the show. And I guess apples to oranges, the state fair versus what looks like an arena here. Let's take a look. I mean, just...
I know this is the first concert for some of y'all. I can see it on your faces. Songs like this, you're supposed to fucking lose it.
Okay.
When this beat drops,
okay,
all the old heads in here show me how to do a concert. Can I see that shit? Can I see that shit? Can I see that shit? Can I see that shit?
Oh, the countdown, yes. The whole room jumps.
What are we doing?
The whole room jump. Listen to me. When he hits that, what? Oh, if you don't get goosebumps. go, baby. We're on our way. We're on our way. Dude. Woo!
AI might be the most important.
Whoa. You know
What are we doing?
It's one of, I kind of want to go to a Childish Gambino concert now. Hey, like where we at? Like I get it. Okay, I understand this, and that's the only argument, right? That's the only argument. Lil Wayne's a little older. He's doing state fairs now. Like I'm sure. Hey, dare I say, Lil Wayne. York Fair 2025.
What are we doing?
I've changed my stance. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry to say this, Wayne, but I was your number one supporter to go to the Super Bowl in 2025, but unfortunately, I'm almost positive we are going to have to give that W to Miley Cyrus.
What are we doing?
So we'll see Lil Wayne at the York Fair next year. Hopefully, let's get on that now. Let's go to the York Fair's Facebook page because we know they live by that religiously. And let's start commenting Lil Wayne for the York Fair because clearly he's finally on that state fair rate. York Fair can afford it.
What are we doing?
They can afford Lil Wayne now. So let's get him here. And then we can go maybe in person. So Childish Gambino was great. And listen, the only other thing we'll talk about is this Post Malone album, okay? Post Malone has dropped F1 Trillion, his anticipated country album. And we're getting hit from both sides, okay? Listen, our general opinion in this household, and everyone knows, we are very, very big Post Malone fans. This has to be at least the 20th or 30th clip we've ever done, probably a segment on Post Malone.
What are we doing?
There is a poster of him right over there on the penthouse wall, okay? We are fans of Post Malone. We've been close to it. We know his music, so we were anticipating this album. And I must say, it's kind of, listen, we're going to rank it a little mid.
What are we doing?
Okay. I unfortunately am just not a country fan. And so I'm a beats guy. I like the drop. You saw me with the Childish Gambino, the Lil Jon. I'm a DJ. I like the hip hops. I like the instrumentals. I like the instrumental before I listen to the lyrics to a song, right? So
what are we doing?
When I had to sit through a country album from Post Malone, it was okay for me. I turned some of them off because they were a little too country. Some of the collabs are good. Some of them we could have done without. So listen, overall, I give the album, 5.8, maybe a 6 out of 10. Okay, it's fine. And that's mainly just because it's Post Malone.
What are we doing?
But the other side of the coin, unfortunately, comes with the term culture vulture, okay? There is a side of the society here that doesn't like the fact that Mr. White Iverson Post Malone got his start with the SoundCloud rappers.
What are we doing?
If you recall, Post Malone got his start with the White Iverson, the Congratulations, the hip hop, the Quavo features, the Sway Lee took him on tour, the Sunflower. Post Malone has been a rap / hip hop / pop artist for quite some time now.
What are we doing?
And when you go from starting out with the cornrows and the White Iversons and the hip hop culture, they accepted you. And now they're not really fucking with the country music. So I asked our good dear friend Los from the 280 Plus podcast. He's our correspondent when it comes to all things culture, okay? All things black in this country.
What are we doing?
He's my go-to listen, and this is real deal right now. This is real shit. You're not going to get this out of the Joe Rogan podcast. When it comes to white people, listen up. You need to have a black friend.
What are we doing?
if not more than one, because if sometimes you think posting on social media or having certain opinions or certain views aren't racist, a lot of times they are.
What are we doing?
And so I run shit by Carlos all the time. I'm like, hey man, if I say this, am I going to be like, that's probably borderline, right? And so a lot of times he'll say, yes, Levi, don't post that. You can't say the N-word, et cetera, et cetera. So having that African-American friend in your life, I'm being honest with you right now, is a blessing. It's honestly a blessing. And if you're a white person and you don't have any black friends, I challenge you to go out and make at least one.
What are we doing?
Make at least one, and I guarantee it'll change your life. So I asked Carlos, I said, look, man, because he's grown up, he grew up with the Joe Buttons, the early hip hops, the 90s into the he's Los knows a thing or two. So I asked him, what is your opinion on the whole Post Malone culture vulture situation? And we've got, unfortunately, he's a little busy at the moment, but we've got some audio from him. So let's hear what he has to say.
Levi, in terms of your boy Post Malone, how do I feel about it?
Yep.
Him being a culture vulture, it's very unfortunate actually, because he was that white rapper that kind of broke the mold, so to speak, right?
Yep.
Because most white rappers are all rapidy rap, lyrical miracle, and they just don't have the ability to fully connect with like the black community, you know what I'm saying, with the hip hop community at large.
One of the reasons we love him. Yeah.
You know, Post Malone felt like he was the real deal in terms of breaking that mold and being with the new sound. I think.
Yeah. Well, right. And that too.
I think most white rappers, they feel like they have to like overcompensate, and that's why all we hear from most white rappers is like super lyrical,
over
type of music.
Because
and so like when he came in, he was doing the melodic thing right at the time when that was the wave. It felt like okay, you know, and I think for some people they were cautious because his appearance didn't necessarily match. You know what I'm saying? He did look like a redneck. He did look a little dusty, dirty, but what he was putting out was sounding good. But then there are a lot of people that was a little bit more skeptical about him, and they were just like, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, dusty, dirty.
What are we doing?
Everyone since the beginning of time has called Post Malone dirty, and I guess it's just his raggedy look. That's so hilarious. Okay, so yeah, no, I totally get all that. What about, and so the country album, right?
So once we start seeing him drop the country and the rock and roll and stuff like that, I think it was a little bit disappointing because now we know what his real motive was. But it's weird because it's like why couldn't you just come out as a country artist, or why couldn't you come out as a rock artist? Like what was holding you back?
Right.
I don't know. I guess that's what I'm confused about. So
what's he doing?
I guess
Eating lunch?
It is what it is.
I think he's eating lunch.
But I don't want to hear about him as an artist because, like I said, like if we're not gonna get the kind of music that we grew to love, then yeah, man, he need to stay over there. It's too late. We can't do nothing about the vulture. Like if he's a culture vulture, we can't do nothing about it. But we can just kind of move on.
So, what are we doing?
Moving on from Post Malone. So, I mean, it's really interesting here. So, you know, a lot of other examples, a lot of people are pointing out like Machine Gun Kelly. He is and is still a rapper, but he did a rock album but came back. I mean, Lil Wayne did a rock album but then came back. And so, you know, it just... Jelly Roll, I think, was a rapper when he started.
What are we doing?
Maybe, but like he wasn't famous for it, and then he moved into country. So we've seen it over time and time again with, especially with white artists, switching up the genres. And I guess sometimes it's been taken lightly, sometimes it's been taken seriously. I would love to know your thoughts. So according to our friend Los, 280 Plus Podcast, and some few other people I talked to, it's not looking like a well-received thing. We're going to see where we go with Post Malone in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for rocking with me. My name's Levi McCurdy. This has been episode 155 of the What Are We Doing podcast. I can't believe we've made it this far. I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope I didn't bombard you with too many episodes or clips, but it doesn't matter because we do it on Fridays because that's what makes sense.
What are we doing?
Okay, so catch us next week on Friday. We shouldn't miss an episode for a while now. Trust me, I'm not going on any more vacations anytime soon. Do what you do, people. You got to do it. You've got to do what you do and hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit whatever button you want. Just give us some interaction here on this podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Have a fun weekend. And until next time, peace out, everybody. Here we go.